On April 30th, 1945, before taking his own life, Adolf Hitler and his mistress Eva Braun burned all their documents, photos, and everything else. Hitler wanted nothing to remain behind him. At that time, no one knew what had happened in the bunker before Hitler's death. But now, 70 years later, thanks to a French officer, Commandant Raymond Roubaud, who is no longer alive, and a private tour, some new political and personal documents of Hitler have surfaced. These unique documents, now revealed for the first time, shed light on the final days of Hitler and provide a clearer understanding of the critical moments in the bunker. What was the atmosphere like in the bunker? Why did Hitler marry Eva Braun just 24 hours before his death? Which close associates betrayed him in the last 10 days of his life? When was the decision made to end his life? And most importantly, what evidence led the Allied forces to confirm that the dead body was indeed Hitler's? In this video, we once again delve into the mystery of Hitler's death. After Hitler's death, everyone tried to visit and understand the bunker. On November 25, 1945, Commandant Raymond Roubaud, a French officer, entered the bunker. To reach the bunker, one had to descend 26 steps leading to a dark room. Inside, he found a dim and dirty room with scattered papers, overturned furniture, and candle wax. Roubaud discovered some documents that shed new light on Hitler's final days. These documents reveal that Hitler remained steadfast in his decisions until the end, even seeking victory in his own death. Just 10 days before Hitler's death, the dream of Nazi Germany, which once aimed to dominate the world, had turned into a mere fantasy. Hitler's empire, once one of the most powerful in the world and a thorn in the side of Western powers, was now counting its final moments. Berlin, the center of Hitler's dreams and power, had been reduced to rubble. Destruction, fear, and death were everywhere. Allied bombs rained down relentlessly, and the Red Army was just 100 kilometers away. Hitler, who was about to become the target of his own downfall, was now hiding in the darkness of a bunker. This bunker, located 7 meters underground near the Brandenburg Gate in Berlin, was no ordinary bunker. Designed by Albert Speer, Hitler's personal architect, it was built to be extremely strong and bomb-proof. Originally constructed in 1936, it was further reinforced in 1943 and 1944 as Allied bombings became more intense. In German, this bunker was called the Führerbunker, Leader's Bunker. It was here that Adolf Hitler, who once dreamed of ruling the world, spent his final days. The atmosphere in the bunker was deeply depressing. Thick concrete walls, cold and damp air, and darkness dominated the space. The bunker was like a maze, with narrow corridors and small rooms that gave a suffocating feeling. Hitler had a private space consisting of 3 rooms, one for meetings where he held daily military briefings, a small room for Eva Braun, and a shared bathroom. The bunker's environment was filled with depression and fear. Due to being underground, a mechanical ventilation system constantly made noise, adding to the physical discomfort and mental torture for those inside. In his final 10 days, Hitler was not only physically broken, but also mentally shattered. He suffered from Parkinson's disease, which caused his hands to tremble. To hide this, he often kept his left hand in his pocket or in a position where others wouldn't notice. In his last days, his hand trembled constantly, and he struggled to write. Doctors noted that Hitler's face had become pale and aged, making him look 10 to 15 years older than his actual age. Hitler's personal doctor, Theodor Morell, administered glucose and vitamin injections daily, but it wasn't enough to improve his health. The loss of control over his hands was a clear sign of his declining morale. The daily routine in the bunker was extremely monotonous. Every morning, a military meeting was held where generals updated Hitler on the situation in Berlin. The news of losing control over Berlin frustrated Hitler. Hitler's nature was distrustful. He found it hard to trust anyone. This is why, even in his final days, he was paranoid about being betrayed by his generals. And indeed, that's exactly what happened. While everyone in the bunker was thinking of escaping, Eva Braun stood by Hitler's side. Eva Braun had been Hitler's mistress for 13 years. Though they were not married, she stayed with him in the bunker. Experts believe that Eva's insistence on staying with Hitler in the bunker was due to her romantic and emotional nature. Some letters written by Eva to her friends have been found, shedding light on her private life with Hitler. In one letter, she wrote, "This place is terrifying, but I am happy here because Hitler is with me." Inside the bunker, Eva's daily routine was limited. She often spent time in her room arranging photographs or having coffee with Hitler. However, her letters reveal that she felt deeply lonely and isolated. Outside the bunker, Berlin had become a battlefield. Allied bombers rained destruction day and night, and the Red Army was just a few kilometers away from the bunker. Despite having 900 tanks and nearly 500,000 German soldiers, Nazi forces were collapsing. Hitler's dream of ruling for 1,000 years was crumbling. Berlin's citizens hid in bunkers and basements, trying to save their lives, while Nazi propaganda played on the radio. The Red Army had defeated German forces on the outskirts of Berlin. A German soldier later recalled that when he returned to Berlin, he could hardly recognize the city due to the widespread destruction. It was during this time that even the German army began to lose faith in Hitler's leadership. A few days before Hitler's death, another drama unfolded. Hermann Göring, the head of the German Air Force and a close associate of Hitler, expressed his desire to take power. Göring had held various high positions under Hitler, including Air Minister and Commander-in-Chief of the Air Force. In 1941, Hitler had named Göring as his successor. However, Göring believed that Hitler was trapped in Berlin and that leadership should now fall to him. He sent a telegram to Hitler, suggesting that if Hitler could no longer make decisions, he should transfer official leadership to Göring. Upon receiving the telegram, Hitler, already deeply depressed, flew into a rage. He stripped Göring of all his positions, declared him a traitor, and ordered his arrest. Göring was later sentenced to death, but took his own life by consuming poison just hours before his execution. As the Red Army closed in on Berlin, and with Göring's betrayal, Hitler was pushed to the edge. On April 29, 1945, Hitler gathered those around him and announced that the time had come. At 1 a.m., he officially married Eva Braun in a small ceremony in the bunker, witnessed by a few officers. After the wedding, Hitler dictated his will to his secretary, stating, "I and my wife Eva have chosen death over the shame of surrender." Unfortunately, the marriage lasted only 1 day. On April 30, 1945, at 3 p.m., Hitler poisoned his dog Blondie and retreated to his room with Eva. Exactly 24 hours after their wedding, both ended their lives. Hitler shot himself, while Eva consumed a cyanide capsule. The bunker staff, following instructions, took their bodies outside, burned them, and destroyed all evidence. Hitler wanted no trace left behind. Before his death, Hitler ordered the burning of all documents and personal photos, and ultimately, his own body. This act demonstrated that even in death, Hitler did not want to fall into the hands of his enemies. When the Red Army reached the bunker, they found only charred remains. It was only after extensive investigation, including dental records, that Hitler's body was identified. Hitler had a unique gold dental bridge, which he used to cover his broken teeth. This bridge played a crucial role in confirming his identity.